Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As it's about to title today's video, the new toxic playstyle that is dominating NBA 2K25. So, as you can see off the rip, I'm already going to kind of break this down for you guys and introduce you to it if you don't already know about what the style is like. I've been off the game for a while and this has spawned in to existence while I've been gone. So, what people generally do with this, right? This is a 99 speed build. I'm gonna eventually show you all the stuff in the intros and stuff, but this is a 99 speed, 99 three-pointer, all types of stuff like that build that uses the center as the anchor, if you will, and the center more so uses himself as a screener with the ball in his hand that would intentionally run into my teammate right here if he were, you know, guarding the guard. Now, the easy way to stop this, in my opinion, is to have two versatile defenders that can both guard the perimeter and both guard the interior. You would then have me attempting to switch into the pick and roll right here off the inbound. I am now left of the screener, if you will, or the big man, and then Tonic right here is going to play the right of the screen, and he's going to be able to switch over to the guard. I switch onto the big. I can now handle the rebounding. If AK right here, my teammate, were to have to be in this situation and then switch onto the big, that'd obviously be a problem. That's where this exploit generally stems from, is the fact that guards or just smaller players in general, stuff like that, can't switch onto these bigs, and it's dominating 2v2 because you generally have a fast player like this, or you're attempting to do that, whether it's pick and roll, you know, like the small guard and big combo for like pick and roll stuff has been working pretty good in twos, and then on top of that, just having high speed and dexing around these off balls has been super dominant. Now I want to take you back to 2K17. We got Soluminati right here, and this was a classic on 2K17. You got this dexing off the inbound. Now, nowadays on the inbound, they have the like second player right here, or the inbound player who can't move back a lot further, and it makes it harder for you to move around, you know, the off balls and stuff like that. Shout out to God Triller, shout out to Soluminati, rest in peace to God Triller as well. It's crazy. We're going a lot of, you know, throwback stuff here on this 2K stuff while I'm introducing a very new mechanic to you guys. But anyway, point being, they had this kind of dex right here where he's not holding LT and making himself the screen or anything like that, but obviously this player can't move. So if you try and go under like this, it's still going to be problematic because there's so many people in your way. So you have like a hard time getting through this stuff. And if you try and shoot it like that, like how Nate did right here, then you're done for. I mean, look at this, dude. It's so fast. And honestly, the fact that you could do this with like a 60, 70 speed player back in the day was just insane. Instantly zip back the other way. Now that's why I'd like to argue that this is even more dominant in this type of game than it was in the past. Like, while I do think this right here is problematic and is really hard to guard, it's nowhere near the same effectiveness, if you ask me. I mean, this player is just moving very fast with high speed. He's generally just using an attribute that actually works out good for him. So let's go ahead and rewind this real quick. I appreciate you guys watching the video. If you do enjoy it, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on noties, all the good stuff. Like I said, we're back here for the first time in a while. Now, I want to let you guys know these guys' overalls are super low. Like, we have a 72 overall center, and I guess people just do this stuff in the events and stuff too to try and kind of fish for lower overall matchups. I don't think that applied to this situation. I'm not hating on these guys by any means with this gameplay video. I actually respect the playstyle. I think this is actually a fun way to play the game, and if you don't have the right lineup to counter this, I would say that's just on you, personally. Now, I think it gets a little bit more toxic on 2v2, but I would even argue the exact same thing. If you can play with two bigs on 2v2, or what I would like to say is more like 2 6'8" to 6'9", maybe even 6'10" players, you could guard this pretty manageably, if you ask me. The only time you're going to struggle with it is if you have a small player yourself, and that's already a nightmare on twos in the first place, to be honest. But anyway, two players right here that are both really high reps and stuff too. Like, these guys have played the game a lot, obviously. This player right here has 99 agility, 98 speed, 99 three-pointer with 92 perimeter. It's actually a very solid build even still. It's just so, you know, mesmerizingly high in some attributes and then so low in others. So it's a little bit more of an extreme build, if you will. But whereas like me and Tonic have very versatile defensive builds and stuff like that, we have this player right here at the 1 with 99 speed, also 99 agility and 99 three-pointer. So two of them coming out here super fast, super high three-pointer, super high agility, stuff like that. And then we have my boy AK playing on Apollo's account. Shout out to Apollo for allowing him to hop on here. We got 99 three-point, high ball handle, more of a traditional point guard, if you will, rather than like having super high speed and just playing off ball. And then we have Tonic on a 6'7", and their big has still high offensive rebound, pass act, stuff like that. So they're all, yes, low overalls, but they've upgraded things that apply to how they're actually going to want to play. Now, here's the issue with our lineup as far as how they want to guard us. I would like to say that you're going to see some of this gameplay talk on that, like hit the talking point of what I'm talking about with this play style, and it's fun to watch, but you are going to see us make some nasty plays just in general out the gate. Now, when it's stuff like this and people are running around off ball, I think you and your other perimeter player, if you will, me and AK, can switch anything to do with where they're moving. So like if I just take leftmost, he just takes rightmost, that would simplify everything very easy, right? The only person on the court that can't switch with each other is AK and whoever is guarding the center right here. So for instance, in this case, it would be him and Tonic are the only ones that can't switch right now because we can't afford to put him on the big because it's going to hurt the rebounding, the interior defense, you know, just stuff like that. Now, you can see we did, unfortunately, on that one, not expect what to actually be seeing right there off the rip. So we didn't play that left-right stuff that I was talking about, and watching it back like this, we probably didn't even do it very much at all. Now, off the inbound right here, you can see I end up trying to switch up into this, and Tonic has the good awareness, maybe a little bit delayed, but he ends up having the awareness to take this to the right because I can, like, obviously play the left, and it's going to be a little bit harder for me to recover this way, so he just turns it into sides right there. So, boom, there he is, recovering. However, he did try and play a passing lane, and then obviously was a little bit out of the play. Still gets a yellow. I'm brand new to this contest system, too. They actually changed this since the last time I had been on as well, where that's now a weak and strong, rather than just straight up being like a yellow and a red. So it's interesting how much has changed since I've been on here last. So anyway, into the actual action right here. You can see what is essentially going on is these guys are just moving around off ball, and it looks kind of willy-nilly, right? It's just a lot of randomness and kind of nonsense. But what ends up happening is that this guy is trying to cut off most primarily AK right here, but also is kind of just getting Tonic by default, and then the guard ends up moving around really good to the right here. Now, bad spacing by this guard, if you ask me. If he stayed in the corner a little bit deeper right there, it'd be hard for me to play this kind of spot right here. He tries kind of wrapping around the back of the guard once again, and this is where spamming stuff like that over and over again can be pretty bad. It's actually ironic. I was watching that Solominati video, right, and it was a lot of stuff where they would just kind of spam pick and roll, even if they had the matchups that were probably way more ideal, like staying away from the lockdown with the ball in hand. It's hard to explain, but it's kind of funny to see how advanced the 2K community has got in terms of its intellect over the years, as opposed to, I think back in 2K17, none of us even knew what a slip was, to be completely honest with you guys, besides actual basketball, you know, intel people and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm in his face right there. Once again, get a moderate contest. AK's out on the break. So this is still gameplay. I still intend for this to be a kind of fun watch, but again, understand their overall is a little bit lower, and it's not me trying to say that we dominated them or anything like that. It's just that I have an interesting concept to show you guys of the playstyle right here. I wanted to show it some appreciation because I know a lot of people have been hating on it, but me personally, I think it's a fun, interesting way to play the game, and you got to have the personnel to deal with it. It's like the same problem with people who can't fight through screens, you know? I mean, if they were to run regular pick and roll right here, and we had Tonic on the back end and AK on ball, that's also still going to be too difficult to afford to switch, because if you get hit with a big screen from the big man right here, it's going to make it so if this guy has to step out to the guard, then you're now left with a tough switch. It's the same reason that that kind of, you know, ideology is a little bit tough to apply to NBA basketball. If you have small on-ball defenders that can't deal with switching on to the big, it's going to put a lot of stress on that big on the back end to deal with a lot of things, especially when you implement pick and pops and stuff like that into the equation. So anyway, right here, prime example. Perfect prime example of how this is exploited when you have the wrong defender matched up into this. So the big man just runs directly into AK, takes him out the play, forces him to have to guard him, and then obviously we have Tonic stuck on the guard. So he tries to fight through it, he tries to reach as well, tries to get back to that, but as you can see, it's pretty much like setting a big body screen. Unfortunately for him, he misses the wide open shot right there as well. I'm out on the break, get a little dunk meter to go. Shout out to, you know, the play style a little bit as well. Also interesting thing about this game mode is that it was based on 2K15, so the score used to go by 1s and 2s. So in this mode, a play style like this is even more effective because it's so good at generating threes with all this speed and three-pointer on the court that you get double the value of what a dunk is, if you think about it. Because obviously, you know, the dunks are worth 1 point, the three-pointers are worth 2 points, as opposed to your traditional style of, you know, dunks being worth 2 and three-pointers being worth 3, which is like a 2 to 3 ratio rather than a 1 to 2, which obviously, if you know fractions, it's kind of how it works. But anyway, this was a super interesting way of this being ran, and I want to talk to you about how this could have got defended perfectly if we were on our P's and Q's with it, and why this isn't cheese, in my opinion. So, check this out. He's trying to hit me with this, but it's like at the end of the day, if I sit low enough on it, we can just play sides on this. I take the left, Tonic takes the right. As you can see, he's a little bit lacking in this regard, but I just want to give you the vision of how this could have been defended perfectly, even with the crazy wrinkle that they add right here. So, I'm on the left, Tonic's on the right. He could have then switched with me and just the pink pink player right here, right? And that's a two-man switch. But when they implement this wrap right here, you now turn this into another two-man switch where Tonic is playing the leftmost of the guards and AK is playing the rightmost of the guards. It's about as simple as that. So if it would have just been switched right here where I'm now on the big playing left of this wrap action, and I could play, if the guard keeps on going, be ready to switch on to him and Tonic go to the big. But all of this being identified, I understand it might be kind of complex, but it looks so elementary to me watching it right now, if you ask me. So anyway, yeah, like I said, turn one two-man switch into another two-man switch where it becomes a me and Tonic thing. Now it becomes an AK and Tonic thing, and now it becomes a me and Tonic thing again. Which, yes, again, like I just said, I understand it looks complex, but I think this really does make sense. Unfortunately, Tonic jumps out of the play, but as you can see, that was my intention, was to be ready to like step up to this and switch again. And like I said, you just got to know your personnel on the court. It's about as simple as that. But that was the best breakdown I could have possibly had of stopping it for you guys. It's just obviously he ends up hitting a yellow anyway, and Tonic did jump out the play. But yeah, I don't know. It was honestly could be a beautiful thing to just like play a game like this over and over again with both teams doing it. That's my opinion. I don't know. Like, I understand there's a lot of people that really hate this concept in 2K and they think it's like a crazy exploit, super cheese, unbeatable. I saw like on a 2's streak there was a 100-game streak of people doing this, which I understand, you know, it obviously can be very toxic to stop if you don't have the proper lineup or the proper players or just skill in general to be able to beat this. Playing threes, especially trying to do like ISO and stuff like that, it feels very tough in this year's 2K. I mean, if you're just ISOing, you're going to have a hard time generating threes because it's just so easy for people to play tight on you, force you to the drives, and then if you just stay at home on the three-point line, there's nothing you can do to generate threes. Whereas playing like this, there's so much attention that needs to be really just focused on the guards. And then you have to have a lineup out here. Like, let's say in a perfect world, you have 3 switchable players that can all, like, you know, switch everything. That means you're probably going to be suffering on offense a little bit. It's going to be harder for you to have a guard like AK who can generate three-pointers in the pick and roll consistently, or let alone be as fast as these players if you wanted to be doing this LT deck stuff as well. So it obviously is kind of a little bit of a false dream, if you will, to be able to come out here with a lineup that can actually switch all 3. So that's what their lineup is built on, is the fact that they can just take advantage of wherever the guard is and really just put him in this action no matter what. I mean, look at how fast he's moving too. This is crazy. This brown shirt dude, again, he is 99 speed, 99 three-pointer, fellas. It's not like him being 88 overall is really trolling him that hard in terms of, like, you know, playing this. So he hits that RT kind of like speed boost off-ball move, if you will, and that's where that is implemented in this game, as opposed to in 2K17, that Soluminati clip I was showing you guys about was obviously not added to the game in that type of time. But they did have something where if you would like press A to call for the ball, it would make you move faster in that moment. So it really is almost the same difference. Anyway, we get a little bit of a tough take for Tonic right there, but he ends up going to the post, gets a nice efficient shot to go. Obviously, with these guys in their lineup, they're going to struggle too because they have 2 small guards. So if we have 2 capable offensive players as well as me as the screener, it's going to be a hard time for them because obviously they have to deal with Tonic in the post-ups, they got to deal with me in the pick and roll, and then obviously someone has to guard ball with AK on them as well. But as you can see, brown shirt over here dexing around like crazy, shoots a little too deep in my opinion. Obviously I would like to think he can't hit that consistently, but I don't know, I guess 99 three-pointer might have a bag that I don't really know about either. Again, I'm hopping on the game for like the first time in about 3 months or so, so obviously I'm not going to know all the limits or anything like that just quite yet. But again, my point for the threes here is that they are going to have a struggle of the fact that, like, if they want to put the big on Tonic and make it so they can't, like, Tonic can't post anybody up or anything like that, or can't shoot over them on the three-point line, then they're going to have to put the 2 guards in the pick and roll. Now they're just mad confused because they're obviously internally struggling with that idea of where do we put each of these players, because let's just say obviously if the big had to guard Tonic, not only is that a tough matchup for him because Tonic's gonna be able to hunt from the three-point line, he can shoot the threes, he can shot create in the mid-range and stuff like that too. Not to mention if Tonic is shooting the shots on the center trying to contest it, that means the only people to rebound with me, who's like playing as the de facto center, if you will, with like a 90 or like 85 offense rebound and 92 D board. So I have like the gold chaser. The only people that can compete with me on the rebound, if this guy's contesting the shot, are 2 guards. So this is still problematic for them because even if they come out here with a super OD offensive lineup, it's going to struggle on defense given the right matchups of what we have on the court. So do I think this is exploit? Do I think this is cheese? No, bro. I mean, these dudes don't have a lineup that could have competed with ours, in my opinion, anyway, unless they truly cooked us so bad from the 3-point line. A bit of a mistake right there that obviously doesn't apply to the lineup. That's just the player throwing a bad pass. So obviously it doesn't really apply. And then they quit by this point. They have given up. But point being is, you can counter this very easily, in my opinion. You come out here with two versatile defenders like what me and Tonic have. You can kind of, strong arm them into having to use their secondary player who maybe isn't quite as used to doing this as the first one is, and is more ideally the guy to be doing that. Or even further to my point, if you have a lineup that is switchable between all three players, as in if you come out here with like an ISO capable lineup, because I think that's generally what you're going to be seeing, is if you have like a 6'6", 6'7" kind of ISO guy, which granted this game limits that a little bit with dribble styles and stuff like that, but I don't know, that's besides the point. If you come out here with an ISO lineup that also has like a 6'7" guard on some Luka stuff, and then same thing here at the 2 and the 3, switchable players, maybe 2 Tonics rather than me on the court, and you have 2 players that can shoot, you're going to end up in a situation where you could pretty much switch everything. Now they're going to have to resort to slips. You can play passing lanes on that, just get good type stuff, like you can clearly stop that, obviously. And I don't think it's any different than guarding a pick and roll, really, when it comes to like how I really feel about it. Now, it's much more dominant, I will say, in terms of a 2-man interaction with one player not being able to switch. Like if we come back to this earlier point in the game where AK was involved and this guy gets a mean hit on him right here, this is where it is exploitable. I totally understand that, but that is your own shortcomings defensively of having a small guard, if you ask me. Now, the reason it's so powerful though is because this gets so stuck. Like, this is not the typical, aspect you would get of a screen. Not to mention, the guard can move a lot faster than if he had the ball in his hand. I'd like to argue that's kind of the game's problem in a different way, of guards just can't really move that well in this game, if you ask me. I think dribbling's a little bit mediocre, kind of bad. I don't know, that's just my take. So, what do you resort to otherwise when screens don't hit really hard like they did in 17 and you can't move around like crazy with the ball in your hand like previous games? You have a game where you move around really fast offensively without the ball in your hand, and you have a situation where it's really easy to make contact with the player and impede their ability to guard who they want to by just running into them. Granted, I understand it's a stupid mechanic. They wouldn't allow stuff like this in real basketball. I totally understand that. This is obviously like illegal screens and stuff like that, and you just kind of get in the way. Granted, I don't actually know what the rule is on that, to just kind of pick up the ball, fake pass, and like get in the guy's way. But hey, at the end of the day, I can appreciate a concept that is at least something that makes you think when you're playing a game mode like this. Besides the typical nonsense that you see where you come out here with a guard lock center and they all come at you with like the exact same lineup, the exact same play style. I appreciate something like this where it brings a little bit of diversity to threes. And twos, yeah, I understand it's a little bit of a different topic, but hey, again, you could come out here with a switchable lineup on twos, a stretch in a player like mine, like me and Tanner did back when we were playing the ranked 2v2 stuff, and a lineup like that would patch it up really easily. And the guard would even struggle to guard one of us, because obviously to have a speed demon guard like this, they have to struggle defensively in terms of like their ability to guard, let's say, a rebounder or a stretch big, and just the stretch can shoot over him. So, hey, the game is what it is, and you have to play around it. And if you decide to come out with a lineup like this, you are obviously going to understand the shortcomings of it defensively and switchably. So, same thing applies to having AK on the court. He can't switch, and we get put in situations like this. It's going to be tough. Now, actually, what you even could do, if you wanted to get even further with this, is triangle this, or rotate it, just simply. I guess triangle's a little bit tough to say because it's such a weird rotation, but it is a 3-man rotate anyway. AK could just, if he gets in a situation like this and gets stuck out of the play and can't get to who he was trying to defend, swing over to the other guard. He can just move over here. The big can't shoot anyway, even if he could. Obviously, you'd rather live with that than 299 3-point guards anyway. So what I'm trying to say is, essentially, when AK ends up in a spot like this, he could rotate out. He could rotate with me. I'm stuck off ball, but I'm still a switchable player in my own regard as well. So now Tonic could just end up on the pink shirt right here. I end up on the big, and now we just become the 2-man defense again, and AK just rotates out. You could easily do this as long as your timing and communication are good amongst your own team. So there's a lot of solutions I've given you guys in this video, and I hope that this helps you if you have been struggling with this, and I hope it opens up your mind a little bit to maybe not just calling it brain dead stupid. I don't know. That's just my take, is I can appreciate the fact that you can actually game plan around this a little bit. Now, before we end this video, I want to introduce you to something that was really existing in the game when I was last on here, which was this toxic post-fade cheese, essentially. And I just want to give this as a counterpoint to people who I've seen on Twitter just rambling about this being the most broken, just crazy exploit in the game, unbeatable, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and skip to the part where we give the ball up and now they are on offense. So you're gonna see, let me just get to the point of them actually post fading and stuff. Now, ironically, let's just show this, because obviously I was doing my best on the perimeter right here. I was just hitting him with the bumps everywhere. He couldn't get past me. I've probably burnt adrenaline on him and stuff like that too. He's, you know, like, gotta be gassed, at least in some capacity. So then he takes me into the post, backs it down far enough, shoots the close fade, and it's a very tight contest, and he's making it. It was literally just something that gets made every single time. I mean, this is an exploit. This is toxic. This is cheese. You can't stop it as long as the other player is good enough at timing their shot, and it wasn't hard to do either. This is literally the exploit that I'm talking about. Again, another tight. It's 3 in a row. He then hits me with a nice move that gets me out of the play. My teammate goes for a jump contest, gets another tight. That's 4 in a row right there. Anyway, just figured I'd share that with you just as a better example of what I believe is actually like unstoppable cheese, in my opinion. So anyway, that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to noties, all good stuff. Like always, try to win 1,000 likes. And if you made it to the end of the video, put Laker or put threes in the comments. Search Sports Mail through. If you guys want to see more 3-3 gameplay, I'd love to. I just think it's not very unique and original on a game-to-game basis. Maybe we need to play like stage and stuff, but again, you wouldn't really find very dynamic lineups in there. It's just going to be some typical meta stuff. But for all I know, this might be the meta on threes even now. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I could go for playing against a lineup like this all day. This is fun to me. This is really like a fun time trying to figure out how to switch everything at the right times and stuff, communicate with your whole team, and it brings more of a pro-am feel to Park, which is a very rare thing. So I personally can appreciate this lineup a lot as far as like the intellect that it takes to beat a team like ours with it is all. So anyway, that's all video. Let me know if you want to see more 3s, more 5s, 2s, stuff like that. If you guys are interested in Park gameplay and stuff, I will 100% bring it to you. It's just I fear that the intrigue is not there and it's mostly just pro-am. But you could prove me wrong. Feel free to let me know. Anyway, that's all video. Hope you all enjoyed. Other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.